At the Centre for Ordnance Science and Technology Testing Ground in Wiltshire, England, explosive experts are hard at work. A Buick, identical to Pavlick's, is about to be turned into a car bomb. Explosives expert Trevor Lawrence, a veteran of conflicts in Serbia, Iraq, and Afghanistan, knows firsthand the damage suicide bombers can cause.
The advantage of a car over a person carrying a bomb, obviously you can much larger charge and you can hide the charge a lot easier. And the damage they can cause, absolutely massive. You can get it exactly to the optimum point, huge structural damage and mass casualties.
While the type of dynamite Pavlick purchased is no longer manufactured, Trevor has sourced a modern-day equivalent. Trevor places the primed explosives in the trunk. The experiment will attempt to simulate what would have happened if Pavlick had put his plan into play outside the Church of St. Edward. Driving toward the church, when Kennedy was leaving and walking down the steps, Pavlick would have driven straight at him. When he was as close as he possibly could be, he would have detonated the device.
Do we have range clear, Paul?
Range clear.
Stand by.
Everything was in place. All it took was the movement of his hand from the steering wheel to the switch.
Firing.
As the smoke and debris clears, the experiment delivers a surprising result. The mannequins are still standing. But why?
So you can clearly see here, that's where the explosives were positioned, and that's the actual seat of the explosion. And it's torn away, all this light superstructure has been thrown enormous distances. But if you look at the front, the actual engine block is all still in one piece, and that's not only deflected the blast, but it stopped anything forward from being torn off, so no major fragmentation has gone forward.
But all is not quite as it seems. Even without being hit by shrapnel, JFK could have faced mortal jeopardy from the blast. Watch the explosion again. This rippling effect on the image is a shock wave from the blast. This is known as blast overpressure, and depending on how close you are standing to the point of detonation, it can prove to be fatal.
That does a lot of damage to the human body. It's going to enter the body orifices, it's going to blow out their eardrums, may have suffered internal damage, lung damage, internal bleeding. And you also have this phenomenon called blast lung, where the blast overpressure enters the body and damages the alveoli in the lung. And what happens over time, they start to produce fluid, and you basically internally drown. And quite often people have walked away from explosions and seem to be okay, and hours later have died simply from fluid collecting in the lungs.
But the only person certain to have perished would have been Pavlick himself.
Not such a happy tale for him. He was right in the force of the blast, and there are various bits of him scattered around here, which is kind of what would have happened in real life.